Hello. Thank you for the several gifted membership servant and for the $2. Excuse me. He says, me turns 39. Micah next day. Cool announcements. Pretty much. Yeah, we got some cool stuff going on. And I wanted to talk about that today because I feel like all the other discussions have been like total negative Nancy shit, and I'm like, you know what? Let's switch it up a bit. And I do apologize if I look a little bit messy. I woke up late today. Yesterday I was working on some stuff on my day off, which I'm not supposed to do, but you know, it was some stuff around the house. It wasn't like any necessary creative work. But I forgot to trim my hair, and I forgot to shave, so I'm a little scraggly looking. But hopefully you guys will forgive me. The other thing I hope you'll forgive me for is probably in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to have to get up and grab something to drink because I'm thirsty as all get out. But we have cool stuff to talk about today. So some of you might have gotten emails for a couple of Indiegogo campaigns. And you know what? I'm actually going to go ahead and get up and get that drink, because it just dawned on me there is something I'm going to want to show you guys regardless. So give me just a moment. I'll be right back. I'll put the music back on. Music. Okay. So, I have a box right here. You can see the cardboard. Whoop. I'm going to have to clip this VOD because that just doxed my address. Fuck. Alright. Well, it might not have been seen. Regardless, I have a box, and in this box is something special. So, let me show you guys what's in it. Paper. But also Englewood Book 1 copies. This is the reprint. This is the last thing we needed for the box tiers, and for people that ordered the the Blue Tunics review. Thank you for the 232, Dusort. I have no clue what that is, and I don't know if I want to watch it. But right now my schedule is full, so I can't really be taking on requests. But yes, books are in. 75 total copies, so not a ton. But those are the last piece of the puzzle, aside from the shipping materials and prints that Hatman needs to send me. Because I also got something else. Let me put this box over here. Actually, let's set this on the floor real quick. With a mighty thud. Anyway. The other box I got in, that is also very nice, contains... me unfuck this. This! It's not wanting to behave. Me. The other t-shirt design! Yeah. So like I said, we have everything for the to effectively get everything shipped out on the Englewood Book 2 campaign. So that is really, really exciting. Now, what I wanted to do was go over a couple of other things, because it's all comic book related stuff today. Because I have not talked about my personal projects in a long time. I gotta check something real quick. Okay. Yeah, these are sent to a different bank account, so we're gonna have to get that taken care of. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read a couple of updates real quick on a couple of different campaigns. One thing I also need to say is, because we did not get any more contributions in a while, Indiegogo has went ahead and closed the American Monsters campaign. So when I have some extra scratch to get that fulfilled too, I will go ahead and do that as well, because that one's not going to be nearly as expensive. Because those are just books and prints. Those will get sent out in normal standard mailers, you know. And then the novella will also be made available in other methods, which I'm going to talk about today. But Englewood Book 2, I'm going to go ahead and read this update that I put out today. And yeah, hard-boiled, that's my sentiment too. Hallelujah, because we finally get to move it forward. Okay. So, August 2025 update, not quite shipping yet. Hey everyone, Micah Curtis here, just wanted to put forward an update with what's going on. Though we're not shipping yet, I do want to fill you all in on what's going on. Some of you are probably already aware that the printing and shipping funds plus to finish 3 nights, 4 day shipping funds for Englewood Book 2 plus the funds to finish 3 nights, 4 days part 2 got stolen in a hack where PayPal was not helpful, nor was the money, nor the bank the money was funneled to, nor was law enforcement. So basically, we've had to go to pulling from personal funds to make things happen, which isn't easy to do when Hatman's in law school and I live in an area with a jacked up economy. Even so, I've made things happen and managed to get all the books, shirts, and posters printed alongside the prints that Hatman's going to be sending to me that he has. He's also going to mail me the supplies that we have in storage for shipping. Now it's just about getting the money to ship everything. Once I've saved up the cash, I'll already have the boxes painted for everyone, and then we'll have all the books mailed out for you guys. From there, we'll finally start doing more Englewood stuff, which includes the Paragon crossover. I want to thank you all for being so patient. We're almost there. So yes, the Paragon crossover is still very much happening. There is a mailing list for it, for those who are unaware. In fact, I will drop that for you guys. link in the description, or the link in the... I think the link is in the description. But there is still a pre-launch page for it. We've got 125 signatures on it, so let's increase that, shall we? So let me drop this in here. So click on that link if you've not already signed up for the mailing list. Everybody gets free perks for signing up for mailing lists, virgin covers, and a print. And I actually have the print here that I can show you guys. It's a really good one, done by Raphael, our artist on the book, who is now my Englewood artist. I don't want anybody else touching Englewood for a while. Actually, that's not true. If I have to, if he can't always get it done, I understand. So, you know. But regardless, this is the free print that you'll be getting if you sign up for the mailing list and you back any book physical. Which is pretty great, in my opinion. So, go ahead, get signed up for the mailing list. We will be making this book happen sooner rather than later. That is for certain. So, let me go ahead and go over the other announcement. Because the other announcement had to do with 3 Nights, 4 Days. So for those who do not know, 3 Nights, 4 Days is a comic book that I wrote that I had Preston Acevedo as the artist on. Super talented guy. And to say that we had success with it would be kind of an understatement. We made $25,000 on that campaign. Which, for I'm not really that great at promoting myself. Well, I was worse at it back then than I am now. You know, because now I've got practice. But 3 Nights, 4 Days was pretty successful. I'm very happy with it. And here is the cover of the first book. As you can see, the art is gorgeous. Fucking gorgeous. So, we launched the second book, and we've had complications with it because of the theft. But I have good news. So, I'm going to read this update. You're not going to see it, because it gives something away that I don't want to give away yet. But August, well, actually, wait. If I orient the page like this, it does not give anything away. August 2025 update. Finally, some good news. Hello, everyone. Micah Curtis here. I wanted to provide an update for each of the comic book campaigns we've got open at the moment that are my own projects. The one thing that's nice today is I have good news. We're starting to make progress on things. Just recently, I've managed to get some extra work done to start fulfilling Englewood Book 2. For those unaware, after the theft of the money we had for the production of 3 Nights, the government and the banks were of no help. However, when I start a project, I very much intend to finish it. In regards to 3 Nights, it's still going to be a bit of time before I'm able to resume production on the book, and after that, I'm going to have to pay for 29 pages to be penciled, then 44 to be colored and lettered. It's a very large chunk of change. After that, I've got to pay to print and ship it all out to you, along with an alternate cover that I'll need to pay for. Because I promised an alt cover, your guys are getting an alt cover. Not long after we reported what was going on with the money, the cover artist I had lined up for the alt cover stopped answering my DMs, and I can't say I blame them given the circumstances. So I have to find a new alt cover artist too, which I've sent out feelers, so I think I know who's going to do it. Even so, I just want you all to understand this book is going to come out someday. I don't know when that day is, but I'm going to continue to bust my ass to make sure that it happens, because I love every single one of my readers, and I want to give you guys the end of this saga. We've also got a new cover for the book as well, one that fits the theme and tone exceptionally well, and of course done by the incredibly talented Preston Acevedo. So, are you guys ready to see what that new cover is? I am in the process of pulling it up. Alright. Drum roll, please. Ta-da! Yep. Brand spanking new cover. And I have to say, it looks quite good. This is now the new default cover for the book. I've tampered around with how I want the trade dress to look. I'm going to show you guys a couple different versions. Here's one. And here's the other. I don't know which one I'm going to go with. Right side or left side. I'm leaning on right side. Because this part right here, like getting the proper like fade for these images right here to kind of work the logo in, took a little bit of work. Whereas this one I could just slap it on there. But I think this one also shows the demon in the back, the demon's head in the background a little bit better. But yes, this features our main villain and the cult that she leads. It is a gorgeous piece, to say the least. Because there were some reasons that I can't really go into for why we went with a different cover. But the one thing that I told Preston from the original, I said, there was, you would put a bunch of crucifixions in there that were on fire. I want that back. Like that is, this imagery right here is fucking horrifying. I love it. It fits so well. One thing that somebody suggested to me is that I should approach Heavy Metal Magazine to see if they would be willing to license it, and then if they were willing to license it or publish it in Heavy Metal Magazine on a license basis, which would mean I would still own the IP, for those wondering, then I might be able to get the money to finish book 2 a lot faster. I am looking into some different options. But here's the thing, guys. Book 2 still gets, like, backers every once in a while. Like, I shit you not. We're almost at 190 backers on it. Let me close these real quick. And if you have not backed this yet, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for you. So the link is in the chat. Heavy Metal Magazine funds Adi Shankar's animation studio. I don't encourage making deals with them. It's the first I'm hearing of it. Let me look into this real quick. Yeah, there's no... I'm not finding any... It says holdings. So that might mean that he might be an investor in it? But it says that on Wikipedia, but I'm not finding any source for it. Yeah, like, let me show you real quick what I'm looking at. Because here's the Wikipedia page for Adi Shankar. You can see that I'm looking at it right here, or Bootleg Universe. And it says here, Holdings, Heavy Metal Magazine, and American Science Fantasy Comics Magazine, first published in 1977. Magazine is known primarily for its blend of dark fantasy, science fiction, and steampunk. But there's no source here. Like, notice how there's, like, sources here for that and things along those lines. Like, there's no source for this. So, I don't think this is true. I think somebody just added it in there. So yeah, I don't think that's the case, Fizz. I think that somebody saw this in the Wikipedia article but didn't see any source. So until a source is given to me otherwise, I am assuming this is not correct. So, but regardless, somebody suggested that to me. I know it would make Preston's day because he's a long time Heavy Metal Magazine fan. So I am going to see... I know somebody who is in their Discord server. So I will talk to them and see about like what they're looking for. Because if they're looking for good stories to publish, Three Nights would fit. And again, I'm not looking to sell it to them. I'd be willing to license it. You know, I mean, they could publish it in there, but I still retain the right to publish it myself as well. But, you researched ways of getting Adi Shankar to lose his funds. Well, Fizz, you should have checked to see if that was sourced then, and you didn't. You completely missed it. So that doesn't mean anything to me, dude. Sorry, but if you... I'm going to give you a tip. And then this is the last thing I'm going to say. I'm going to ask you to stop derailing the thought process here after this. If you're doing research on something, you can't just look at a Wikipedia article and then see a statement and just assume that it's true. You need to check the source for it. If you don't check the source, you can steer yourself right into basically the situation here where there's literally no evidence that he has any holdings in it. Like, there's none. There's no source. I asked a couple of different AIs to do a search for me on investors. He's not popping up. So, I think you need to learn a little bit more about how to research things, buddy. And a big part of that is making sure, absolutely sure, that your statements are correct, and which you didn't do here. So, yeah, there's no verification that he has any sort of stake in heavy metal or anything along those lines. It's one line from a Wikipedia article that has no source. Can't trust it. The one thing that helps a lot when it comes to researching stuff on the internet is understanding that not everything you read is true. Yeah, Hardboiled says that Wikipedia is not a quotable source. You can use this was a rule all the way back like when I was in college. And that was a long time. That was like 20 years ago. Basically, we couldn't use Wikipedia as a source. We weren't allowed to. But we could follow the line of where they were quoting and then use that as a source. So yeah, you can't just take Wikipedia at its word like that. So you need to learn more about how to research things properly, buddy. Not everybody can do it. It's not easy. That's part of the reason as to why I tell people, like, why I especially got pissed off in that one video about like the Texas anime ban, is because there's there was no research done by the YouTubers whatsoever. They didn't even look at the Texas Penal Code. They didn't look at it in its context or anything like that. It's just very, very, very lazy. Funnily enough, fun story, guys. How many of you are familiar with the YouTuber Louis Rossmann? He actually showed up in my comments. Like, I was surprised by this. Yeah, the repair guy. This dude showed up in my comments about the Texas anime ban. And he mentioned, like, he said something about being uncomfortable with the government deciding what has serious artistic or political value. And I just basically said, like, well, you're taking it out of its context and how it relates to the legal process. You have to look at the whole thing as one picture. And I told him that if he wanted to have a chat sometime about what's going on, I would be happy to have a sit down with him and kind of go over how the whole thing plays out in the court and things like that. So, and maybe that'll happen. I would like to talk to him. He seems like a very reasonable guy. So, regardless, so 3 Nights, 4 Days Part 2 is up for people to back if you want to back it. The more people that back this, the closer we get to being able to finish the book, basically. Because the thing is like, if we were to get back up to 25 grand in funding like we did with the first book, we could pay for it to get finished easily. I wouldn't make any profit, but I don't care at this point because customers aren't getting their books, and that makes me very angry. So, do teachers still say Wikipedia is bad because AI is the same? Since during the last year of high school, teachers said that AI was being used a lot to cheat and stuff. Oh, it is. And that's the thing. AI is not completely reliable either. AI is basically a search engine that talks to you at this point. And basically what will happen is, let me kind of show you like how you want to do this. So I'm going to give you guys a journalistic lesson. So so let's go ahead and pull up the thing. the question of, does Adi Shankar have holdings in Heavy Metal Magazine? So what it says here, if we use Grok, is it says, there's no definitive evidence from the available information Adi Shankar's direct holdings or ownership in Heavy Metal Magazine. Is only in the context of his broader work on a bootleg universe where the magazine is referenced as part of his projects or interests. But they do not explicitly confirm any ownership or financial stake in Heavy Metal Magazine itself. And then it will drop links. And you follow these, and you click on them. You go to the link, you go to this, you see here, all the way down. Published works, gaming works, upcoming projects. Then holdings, and then we see that it's not sourced. That's how you use it. You follow the threads. Don't take this as an absolute answer, because AI is made by humans. Humans are flawed, and everything we make will inevitably be flawed. It's just the nature of the beast. People will say the opposite, that humans can create perfect things. Shut the fuck up. No, we can't. The nature of our very world makes it impossible to do so. So, other good news. We have Black Rhapsody Book 2, a book that I edited, up to 20% funded. Yeah. Now, we still need more. I'm actually going to make this the pinned comment. We're trying to get this funded, guys. But Black Rhapsody Book 2. A tale of singers and monsters. With gorgeous art. Written by my protege, edited by yours truly, meaning yes, everything that we sell on this, it helps me out quite a bit. Because the money that I'm getting when I get paid for editing this book... Fizz, stop derailing. We moved on. You do it again, I'm going to have to give you time out for the day, dude. Autism, I swear to God. Anyway. But money that I make from this, obviously, is going to help, because I'm going to take that money and I'm going to put it right towards getting comic books finished and fulfilled. I've arrived 2 weeks in hospital completed. Damon, I hope you're feeling better, man. I hope you've made a full recovery. I'm glad to see you here, dude. But regardless, the goal that I would like to hit, that I feel like we've made a big success with this book, is if we get right here to 15K. Then I think that we've nailed it. I would really love to get to 20. But if we get to 15K, it's a big win. If we get to 10K, it's a win. So, but we got to get to the goal first. And though we're moving on it, I'd like to move a bit faster. So if there's anybody out there interested in Black Rhapsody, let me go ahead and just play the trailer for you real quick. are live on Indiegogo. Link in the description. That's me voicing the snake, by the way, if you couldn't tell. My goodness. Got smushed under a car. Holy shit. And you lived through it. God damn, demon. You're a tough son of a bitch. Everybody, if you have a glass, raise it to demon. This isn't a glass, but you get my meaning. God damn, I'm glad you're still with us, buddy. Seriously, that's not easy to go through. Physical trauma fucking sucks, to say the least. And you lived through some tough ballistic trauma. That's like some tough physical kinetic trauma. We'll call it kinetic trauma. To you, sir. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the last bit of news. I know that there are some of you out there that have wanted to get your hands on my work, writing-wise, for a while now, and I completely and totally have just not been able to get to a point where we're able to actually publish it. And that's changing. Yeah, that's changing. So, good news. Last bit of good news today. I finished a book. This is the title of my brand new novella. Everything Went Black. It is a horror story set in England. This is going to start sounding familiar. I'll give you 1 second. I will answer that, Valhalla Erickson. Thank you for the $5, though. Everything Went Black is a story that is set in the English wilderness during the 2010s. It is a horror book that is sort of like if the Call of Cthulhu met the Blair Witch Project, for lack of a better comparison point. It is supernatural horror. Can't really call it quite eldritch, but it kind of is. I'm not going to spoil what the enemies are or what the bad guy is. But it is, the book is finished, and I'm really, really stoked about it. I think it came out really, really good. And yeah, I'm pretty stoked about this. The other cool thing about this is actually set in the Sleeveless universe, which is my comic book universe. The ones that are basically all of my single universe stuff. Englewood, 3 Nights, whenever Project Lazarus gets released, whenever Starshine gets released, those are all in the same universe. So Everything Went Black gives a little bit more backstory on things that happened, and just kind of basically the idea of it is that 4 college students from out in California go and they hear about an old mystery from England. Oh, now it plays the fucking thing. But basically, they find out about an old legend about the woods in northern Britain, and they want to go have a look at it, and they do, and what they find is not pleasant. So, it is going to be a very good novella. It is short; it's only about 70 pages, but it is it's very enjoyable. So, I'm quite stoked about it. I'm quite happy with how it turned out. Hatman said that it's really good. Serena is a big fan of this book. She was my test reader on it, and she really loved it. So, needless to say, I'm really stoked. And the great thing about this, we're not doing crowdfunding with it. That shit ain't happening. Once we are got our business verified on Kindle Direct Publishing, guys, you will be able to buy this book immediately. Yeah. And we will have a live stream to celebrate when that comes out. I'll probably play a spooky video game. But we'll sit down and we will celebrate the release of this. The other thing that I also have to announce is 2 other things that will also be available digitally for public consumption for the first time. For those of you who have wanted to read my comics, but maybe you're international, you can't afford them because of the crazy shipping costs, well, I have good news. There will be a digital option that is available to you. Specifically, Englewood Book 1 and 3 Nights, 4 Days Book 1 will be available on Kindle, optimized for reading through guided view. I've already done all of the work on it. It took me hours to do. I got it done. It's fantastic. I'm really stoked about it. And I'm also working on having it so that people can buy the books physically as well. Just to warn you, though, there will be no, and I repeat this, for those of you out there who are like, Micah's selling books he's got on Indiegogo. These are not the collector's editions at all. So for those of you who have not backed any books on the Indiegogo campaigns, that's the big benefit. Because one thing that I'm also planning on doing, for those of you who backed, and I haven't decided if I'm going to do this yet. One thing I am considering doing is making the art book from book 1 available for purchase again. What do you guys think? Better direct than Nintendo. I do my best. But yeah. So all of the additional materials that are available in the Indiegogo campaigns are not going to be available in the versions that you find on Amazon. Every single book that Grindstone Arts puts on Indiegogo is a special edition. It is a collector's edition, effectively. Has more stuff to it than what you're going to get through Kindle Direct or anything like that. The fact of the matter is, though, guys, independent comics need to start making things easily available for people to buy, and one of the best ways to do it is to go through Amazon to self-promote and to get the news out there that these things are easy to get your hands on. And a lot of people aren't doing it, you know? And that's something that Grindstone is going to start doing. We want to make sure that people can get their hands on it, and that they can buy it and enjoy it. Because I'm sick and fucking tired of this thing of like, oh, you gotta wait till the next campaign to buy the fucking book. And like, no, you can get it digital right now. It doesn't have all the special edition stuff. The images aren't gonna look as good, but you can buy it right now for this price. Like, it just, I hate that shit. I fucking hate it. So there are people that collect comics. There's obviously a collector's market. We will have things available for the collector's market. But do you want to know what makes a lot of money for comic book companies? Readers! Readers! People want to read comics. They don't just want to have them on their shelf. You know? So you can have both. You can have stuff for the collector's market, and you can have stuff for the readers as well. So yeah, it'll be available on ebook. You know, for people to read digitally as opposed to only being able to read physical. One thing I will say, though, Indiegogo campaigns from here on in are only going to be physical books, because making it available on Kindle gives us the ability to do what's called guided view. meaning that we can direct you and how you read the panels in a certain way, and you get a much better experience digitally through that than you're going to through anything else. I would rather just wait on digitals instead of I fucking hate having to navigate PDFs. I like on to read a comic book. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. You know, it doesn't keep that same sort of enthusiasm where you're excited about the next page because you're scrolling up and down and left and right. You're seeing things before the author really wants you to see them or notice them. Like it's a shit show. I would much rather just do things through Kindle because of that guided view ability. So, what company do you work with to print your books? Do you have the tools to do so at GRINDSTONE, or you go through someone else? We have a printer called Mixum here in Illinois that we print through. We've been printing through them for ages. Their print quality is excellent. Excellent customer service. They've always been great with us. That is who we go through. So yeah, and they usually get things to us pretty quick. I ordered those books about 15 days ago. They just finished printing on the 1st, and I just got them today, or got them yesterday on the 4th. So they are pretty awesome. I really like Mixum. I'm more than pleased with them. All right, now that is all I had for announcements today. Let me read Valhalla Erickson's comments. So thank you again for the $5. He says, if you were going to introduce the X-Men in the MCU, who would be your core team? Cyclops, Storm, Wolverine, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Shadowcat, Rogue, Gambit, Professor Xavier, Jean Grey, and let's grab one more. Beast. So basically, the '90s X-Men team with a few extras. Because I really like Colossus, I really like Shadowcat. I've always liked their dynamic until they fucked it up. I love Nightcrawler as well, you know. Gambit, who doesn't love Gambit, you know? Need to start seeking out X-Men comics? There's 2 writers I would recommend more than anybody. The first is obviously Chris Claremont. He wrote the definitive X-Men comic books. And the second would be Fabian Nicieza. Fabian Nicieza is a really good X-Men writer as well. What's going on? Leo, you missed all the announcements, but this is going to be... You're going to be happy about this. You're finally going to be able to actually buy the comics you've been saying you want to buy. Because I'm going to start making things available on digital. Who is my Mount Rushmore of superheroes? Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Captain America. That's my Mount Rushmore. Speaking of Marvel, I need to get those 40th Marvel Transformers figures plus Death's Head. Buy this figure and stay healthy, yes? For those who don't know what I'm referencing. This is what I'm referencing. Death's Head was introduced as a bounty hunter in Transformers comics, but he was owned by Marvel instead of Hasbro. So Marvel retains the rights to the character; they can still use him. But he was initially a Transformers villain. Love this wallpaper. But yeah, speaking of X-Men, thoughts on Emma Frost as a character? Use a hoe. Ho! Use a hoe. Ho! Use a hoe. I said that use a hoe. Ho! That's what I think. It's absolutely what I think of Emma Frost. Can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Hoes don't act right. Hoes on the hill, hoes on the crack pipe. Worst written character that I've ever seen. America Chavez is the worst. Both just not very well written and absolutely fucking insufferable. Like, it is terror. Like, she's the fucking worst. The fucking worst. If you guys have not seen it, those videos are the reason I came back to doing reviews and started doing lore videos. The playlist is on the channel. Let me find it for you. Give me a second. Does it not? Did it not restore itself? It might not have. Let me check something. Because my playlists might not have restored them all themselves after the hack all those months ago. It doesn't exist anymore. Oh shit. I will have to I'll have to remake it. But I will put in the first episode. This was a while ago. When I had a really cringy intro. I was a lot thinner back then too. Oh, you son of a gun. I'm sorry. This thumbnail. It's this thumbnail right here. Local man is fucking invincible. I certainly felt like it back in those days. I felt untouchable. Look at how little gray is in my beard. Look at how little gray is in my beard, and look at it now. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, man. Who would win, Empress Teresa or America Chavez? Their cringe would cancel each other out, making a cringe black hole. There it is. Why Marvel's America sucks so much, part 1. So this was 8 years ago. I'll put this in chat. For those of you who have never seen it. Those videos are the reason I came back to doing reviews. Because I'm like, you know what? I was relatively funny at the time. Do you believe the rooftop scene in Daredevil Season 2 is one-sided? Or do you think it shows that both sides can be right and wrong at the same time? Definitely right and wrong at the same time. It's a very well-done scene. Whereas the original version in the Garth Ennis Punisher book is more one-sided. But since it's Daredevil's show, they rewrote it so that, you know, they gave Matt some good points. Because he has some very good points in it. Micah watching Micahception. Do you guys really want me to react to it? I kind of don't know if I want to. Because I haven't watched the video in a long time. Like, in a very long time. So I don't know if it's any good or anything like that. But it's from a while back. And yeah, I was fucking brutal when it came to comic book reviews. Like, I could be like just mean as fuck. I gave Gabby Rivera no quarter, and she just fucking blocked me on Twitter because of those videos. So, Servant wants me to do it. What did the rest of you guys think? What song did I use for this intro? It was an old one from my old MCN that they gave me. Reactception? Is that what it's called? I thought reactception was reacting to somebody reacting to somebody reacting to you. Or am I not up to date on my terminology? Because I'm old. Alright, seems like people want me to do it. Let's do it. We'll do it to kind of for the latter half of the show. I just got these headphones in today. They were really cheap. But they're Sony, so they should have good audio quality. Let's have a look. Fuck it. Fuck it. Alright. I want to get past the cringe intro music. Oh, this is part 4. No mas por favor. Because that was the last episode I did. So this is a pretty quick video. I'm surprised it's as short as it is. But yeah, why Marvel's America sucks so much. Part 1. Let's do it. Wrong button. There we go. Sometimes I feel the need to stare into the abyss, and so I am doing so. I still feel that need on occasion. I am reading Marvel's America. Yeah. Starting with issue 1. Let's do this. I'm going to basically give you a synopsis page by page and tell you exactly how stupid I think this all is. One thing I want to say, this pause is not completely true, so I'm giving you a little insight on my creative process at the time. I do remember editing this video. I did not intend for this to... I should have just done a slow scroll on her face instead of like going down to her cleavage, because it kind of gives the wrong impression of this book. But yeah, that was just one of those things where all I would do is, I was so lazy as an editor. I would just put an image in and just mark it to scroll for like no discernible reason sometimes. All right. So first page. For better or worse, cunnilingus for the character. If Storm and Miles Morales are talking her up, does she really have anything to prove to the audience? Honestly, I have a feeling that the writer thought this was a good start, but it's not. Here, the author actually puts herself in the comic here too. This right here is supposed to be Gabby Rivera. Yeah, and for those who don't know, Gabby Rivera is the most stereotypical looking lesbian ever. Heroes are supposed to have something to prove, both to the audience and to the rest of their universe. The writer is assuming that just because this character has appeared in other comics in the past, that everyone is familiar with where she's at. This is her first solo run. I want to know more about the character, but not much is really told to me in page 1 except a couple of characters like her, and some random dude, chick, asexual amoeba, whatever, tells me that she's the future. What I do know about... You can tell I didn't edit that audio very well, because I would have cut that blank out. Just like, asexual amoeba? That's all I had? Oh man, I could have came up with something better than that, I would think. Her is that her power set is basically Supergirl's, and she can somehow travel between dimensions. Now, let's look at this page here where we get the title of this particular issue. It says, America Chavez is done with the hero scene.
So she's done being a hero? Or she's done, as in, she's over it. Oh my god. If so, I have a feeling this is going to be the most vapid comic ever.
Boy, was I right. Also, one thing that I have to say about this, just in hindsight, this is the most smug comic book page ever, and it is smug for no fucking reason, because the comic is really bad. Like, but I'll let myself read the rest of it.
She did the Teen Brigade thing. She basically was the Young Avengers. Does that say very negative things about the book or positive things about her? And the Ultimates? ? They're cool, but saving the world every weekend was starting to get old. Time to punch out. But she can't go home again. She left the utopian parallel when she was a little girl after her moms died, saving the entire multiverse. America's been on her own ever since, doing her best to be a hero just like them. Okay, so lesbian from lesbian parents. Let's just keep going.
I'm gonna actually stop it, because that's something that I want to talk about, how fucking stupid this character is. This character is such a writer's pet character, it's ridiculous, and obviously meant to, because I think it might have been made by a dude. I don't remember who created America Chavez. Let me look. Yeah, it was created by two dudes. So it's effectively like a lesbian fetish character, because, you know, it's like it's a lesbian character created who had lesbian planets on a planet full of lesbians that at one point saved the universe, but we for some reason never heard about them until Young Avengers. Like, it's the dumbest shit. She is a fucking terrible character.
I'm not going to complain about it yet. I'm going to hold off on that. And lately, her friends have all seemed to have problems of their own, what with Loki seemingly being a full-on bad guy again, and bestie, Kate Bishop, aka the real Hawkeye. What? I'm sorry, you're telling readers that Kate Bishop, the upstart from Young Avengers, is the real Hawkeye over the actual Hawkeye that has existed for a much longer point of time that everyone is familiar with from the Avengers films. And everyone knows was the original. Fuck you. So where does a super strong queer brown girl who can punch star-shaped holes between dimensions go to get her superhero free kicks? Cue up the music and lace up your boots. America's going to college.
Now, let's poll the audience. So far, it's the start of a Mary Sue. It is. She's absolutely a Mary Sue. But the, because this, you gotta keep in mind, guys, like, this was from the era, this was, the beginning of Trump's America. Remember when, like, because it was Trump's America, everything has to be, like, DEI-tastic. This is from that era. And this is a really good example of, like, that sort of shit that went on. And people just being like, what the actual fuck is this? Where everything had to do the whole gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss thing. Like, everything had to. It was everywhere. And it was fucking terrible. It was the worst shit. Like, the writing was just... And by the way, it's like, it's not like having a female character. Like, we had this argument so many fucking times. It's not, there's nothing wrong with having a female character in something. There's something very wrong in making that character an unlikable bitch that nobody wants to interact with, and then wondering why your sales go down. It's like, they're not fun to read. Like, why do I want... Because think about, like, this opening here. Like, why would I want to read a comic book that effectively is saying that, oh, you're a fan of Clint, the original Hawkeye? Well, fuck you. Kate Bishop's the real Hawkeye. As an older comic reader, and maybe I got no fucking clue who Kate Bishop is. Because, newsflash, nobody actually read Young Avengers. Except for like 5 people. Like, what the actual fuck? So it's so stupid. And the arrogance is just incredible. Not to mention, who the fuck wants to... Like, you're telling me, as somebody who is buying the comic book, expecting a superhero, you're telling me that the superhero is sick of being a superhero, and she's just gonna go to college. I feel like I am teaming up with my past self to beat the shit out of this comic again.
I feel insulted by this page. It's like it just has to tell me that she's a lesbian, has to tell me that she's the best thing since sliced bread, has to tell me that apparently my, 20 plus years of comic book reading is totally wrong, guys. I can't help but give this page a middle finger. Don't tell me what she is. Prove to me that she's amazing. Alright, so now we get into a fight. On some planet somewhere, and Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, who right now is Carol Danvers, for those of you who don't know, the former Miss Marvel, and America Chavez are trying to save people. Doing the hero thing. And in the process of saving a little girl, she takes time to stop, and the author reminds us again that lesbian with lesbian parents. Meanwhile, while she's sitting there lamenting, Monica Rambeau gets her ass kicked.
Talk about taking your eye off the ball.
Wow. So she's stupid, basically. She just sits there and buries her head up her own ass in her own misery, while everyone else around her gets her ass kicked. Okay. So she comes in and she solves the problem with one punch. So, great. She's a plot device. Awesome. I care even less now. The next page is covered with some pretty cringe-worthy dialogue.
Yeah, I'm gonna let that linger for a second. You know this is the era of being aware of Trump's America's dying. Marvel's brought back Frank Castle's Punisher. I wouldn't take that as indicative of anything, because they're not gonna write Frank well, because there's no good writers there. Marvel is still Marvel. They're not they're not feeling enough pressure to really change.
Yay, we're not dead. Look at all these little stars. And it continues on, and she says, add me on Beam Chat at Viva_America. Oh, God. I really don't like dialogue that caters to millennials. Look, if I wanted to be catered to as a millennial, which I'm just barely in that generation.
Yeah, this right here is another just absolutely vapid fucking bit of writing. Add me on Beam Chat. Why would a superhero say this? Add me on Beam Chat. What? Why? Why would a superhero yeah, I'm glad I saved your life. Follow me on Twitter. Can you use it? What the fuck?
I'd go watch Suicide Squad.
I forgot how bad this was.
I'll do another video on this sometime, but I hate it when people try to cater to the millennial generation. Just tell a good story.
Spoiler, I never did that video.
Tell an interesting story. I don't need to hear about a superhero's fucking Twitter profile. Alright. So we got Black Panther and the Blue Marvel talking to these three.
I'm always surprised that they remember Blue Marvel exists. They'll never bring back Kevin Graveau to write him, but they acknowledge that he exists every once in a while, even though he's effectively he's one of the Superman clones, effectively. And they took away his badass fucking costume too. Several times. We'll do a comparison here. So this is the Blue Marvel's, his old costume. Really, really good contrast of shades of blue, and I love the white mask and everything. This is dope looking, right? This is what they have him in now. So we go from cool superhero outfit to this.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, black, I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black and I'm back.
It's not, this isn't like, for the Blue Marvel, like, why did you change it? And by the way, this isn't a bad costume, but it's like the vest is, what the poofy vest is the most, looks like something that they took off a rapper. Like, get rid of it. Like, the rest of it would be fine. But give him the cape back. God.
Long story short, she gets all pissy and she's got this who farted look on her face. Like she's trying to look like Misha Tate or something. Getting bitchy that people are concerned about how the fight went down. And she's second-guessing herself, which makes me wonder. Does she have some sense of bravado? Possibly. I would like to see more on that in this issue, because, for the love of God, she seems like she's a walking plot device. Like they're trying to turn her into, Silver Age Superman, where she can just invent powers. Or maybe she's just self-aware that she's a dumbass. I don't know. Alright, so the next 2 pages are basically here to remind us that she's a lesbian. Yeah, I'm being dead serious. That's what it's for. I mean, the panel here where it's the two of them flirting with the LGBT rainbow flag in the background. All we need is Deadpool popping up in the frame, asking us if we forgot that she's a dyke. Dead serious. Like,
Forgot that I put that in there. Jesus. I was a lot meaner when I was younger. God damn. What the fuck, Micah? What the hell? Oh man. Oh, that was mean of me. God damn. I was a lot more savage back then than I am now.
You might as well have that there. Next page, after the two fuck, they break up. That's basically it. They fuck, they break up, she tosses the necklace at the ground. I have no idea who the person that she's with is. I'm not given any explanation on why I should care about this relationship. All I know is, again, that she's a lesbian. That's all it establishes, is that she's a lesbian. If this was in the hands of a good writer, then they would tell us, at least in like one panel, who this lady is. Why should we care about this blonde girl? How long have these two been together? So on and so forth. Ugh, it's so bad. So bad. Next page, of course, we've got Kate Bishop basically reminding America that she's the greatest thing since sliced bread, thus reminding the reader. The writer is trying so hard to get you to love this character. She might as well be screaming at you to love the character. But the thing is, there's not much to love. All you've done is taken time away from getting to know this character by having other characters tell us to like her. Why do you think that's going to work? It's absolutely idiotic. Alright, from here we go to a map of the college she's going to attend. Sotomayor University. Thanks for reminding us that you're a fucking leftist. Also, why this school? Why does this school matter? Why is she coming here? What are her motivations? Is this somewhere near where she lives during her day-to-day life? Why are we not learning more about her day-to-day life? Why is nothing being established in this comic book? Except that there is apparently a Sotomayor University, because apparently the reader must have their head up Barack Obama's appointees' asses, and that America Chavez is going there. So we're supposed to care just because she's going to be there.
One thing that I have to mention on this, I don't know why I feel the need to be transformative on my own fucking video, but the funny thing about this is that this university never comes up again. And not to mention, it's called Sotomayor University. but it's in a pocket dimension. Why would there be a pocket dimension where there's a university for superheroes that's named not after a superhero, but rather named after an American justice that was appointed by Barack Obama? What's the fucking point? Guys, this is how bad Marvel writing was back then. Like, it's obviously still really bad now, but it's bad now because they have no ideas. It was bad then because it was blatantly trying to politicize, and it just was not very good. Just not any good at all. Like, America Chavez comes off as Mr. Garrison as a superhero. No, she's not that entertaining. Like, why is there an interdimensional college for people with powers where you're, like, teaching slam dancing? What the fuck? Like, and just like this, like, if you look down at the map key, the Department of Radical Women and Intergalactic Indigenous Peoples. So I'm gonna just say this right now: intergalactic indigenous peoples is a fucking silly statement. They're just aliens, or just extraterrestrials. Not to mention, why would a universe in a pocket dimension have something like that when indigenous would be a matter of perspective, wouldn't it? Because there's some planets in Marvel that are colonized, and not colonized in the sense that, like, somebody got kicked out, as in they just were settled and terraformed by the Shi'ar, by the Kree, or by the Skrulls. You know, yeah, propaganda. That's really all it is. Like, there's so many comic books were just pamphlets for the DNC at the time. Like, it's absolutely wild to look back on this and just kind of remember how bad it was.
But I don't care, because you haven't given me a reason to care. And then there's some West Side Story shit, or so it seems, and I want to cringe right out of my skin. And they ask her to pledge to some...
Yeah, and by the way, like, these are actual panels from at the time the biggest comic book company on the planet. The biggest comic book company on the planet paid for someone to write this, paid for someone to draw this, paid for somebody to do kind of like a mediocre color job on it. Like, this was paid for. Someone made money for, like, on this. Like, it's so wild to me. I'm actually gonna stop there. This is, like, painful to live back through. Well, actually, no, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna go towards the section that's, like, one of the more watched segments. It is just how cringe the writing was. Let's see here. Right here. What the holy menstruation are you doing here?
That. The dialogue is so bad. So bad. It's hard to read through it. And again, she's another thing in this panel here where she's saying, if you're trying to impress me, might be better to bring back the ice monsters and Avalanche. Why is she such a cunt to everybody she doesn't know? Like, she's not. This is not endearing. Like, this is not a likable character. This is not a character trait that people enjoy reading. Is hostility towards people. You know, it actually makes me think less of her, as if I really couldn't, do so already. Let's keep going. I just want to get through this. So, next page is that Prodigy has a possible time travel doohickey that he calls the Way Back, and she uses it to go all the way back to World War II, to where she gets pissed off at her cell phone and knocks a grenade back at some Nazis, meets Captain America, and then punches Hitler. I'm confused. Just, that's it. The comic's over. Like, serious. That's it. The comic is over. I hated it. It was awful. The dialogue was bad. I was given no reason to like the character. I don't even know why I should care about this character. Everybody else is telling me to care about this character, but she's not doing anything to make me care about this character. Because it seems like every situation that she's thrown into, she can just punch or kick her way out of it. The only thing that I've really gotten is that she's narcissistic, which is not a trait that a hero possesses. That's what I've...
Yeah, and that was basically like the gist of the book for me, because it's... And this was like the most desperate thing to try to get people to like the character. Because this was during the whole like punch a Nazi debacle, where we were having a public discussion on whether or not it's a good thing to assault people in public, because it isn't. Like, as much as I dislike someone like a Richard Spencer or a Nick Fuentes, I don't want to see them assaulted or killed or anything like that, because it just turns them into a martyr, you know, more than anything. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's, but that was the whole, like, people who have not even, like, punched a pillow, or at most punched a couch, we're saying that you need to punch Hitler, and everybody that disagrees with me is Hitler, so they're effectively justifying violence on people they didn't like, and da-da-da-da-da. It was a mess. Like, this is... Yeah, what does punching Hitler or traveling to the past have anything to do with the overall plot? That's the thing. Like, as the story goes on, it just kind of insists on itself. Like, and I don't mean to, like, quote fucking Family Guy, but it really does. Like, and what really bothers me is, like, we're kind of trivializing World War II and the battlefields of World War II. Like, a battlefield like this, like, would have been littered with corpses. You would smell gunpowder. You would smell blood and shit. And all these terrible things. Like, and it just sort of trivializes it. Not to mention the problem with these panels here. Swats grenade back, but they're now further back than they were here. You know, it's supposed to give the impression that she's turning, but she doesn't actually turn. And the reason for that, you'll notice, is the artist got lazy, because basically what all he does is he erases the hair and moves it, and then moves one of the arms, but the rest of her body is exactly the same as this panel here. Which, by the way, she has no legs. That's funny. So, Marvel Comics, everybody. And also, Adolf Hitler would not be on the middle of a battlefield. He'd be in a hut somewhere doing fucking meth, because that's what Hitler did. The methed out psycho. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, so one more time, because somebody in the chat asked what the announcements were. Basically, all of my comic books got updated on Indiegogo. 3 Nights, 4 Days, Part 2 has a new cover. You're going to be able to buy the first 3 Nights book, the first Englewood book, on Amazon very soon, alongside my new novella, Everything Went Black. Didn't he commit suicide with a pillow? No, he blew his brains out. So, that is pretty much all of it. That's really all I have to say for today, too. Like, I'm just stoked that we're getting it all done. Honestly. And I'm going to have to invest a lot more of my own money to get it done, but it's going to get done. So, on that note, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Have Lolly and Shota started streaming yet? Because if so, we'll raid them. If not, we'll just go ahead and close it out. They have not started yet, so we're just going to close it out. I appreciate all you guys for coming by, hanging out, as always. Have yourselves a good rest of your day, and for anyone watching the VODs, you guys have a good day as well. But until next time, I'll see you later.